do why always SPY? So let me ask you a question. Why when we do our research, and usually on Wednesdays, by the way, it's Jacob doing the skinny on options. Math, he's our mathematician. But Jacob is at Burning Man for the next 2 weeks. And so, is Burning Man even live yet?
No, I mean, I think he's got it set up and stuff. I think he's blowing up the inflatables and stuff.
Yeah, I think Jacob is the sole person in charge of Burning Man now.
He's the Burning Man concierge.
He is.
Looks like it starts August 27th.
No.
To September 4th.
Really?
Yes, really.
Well, he's got a lot of preparation.
There's a lot of work to do ahead of time, though.
So I got a question for you. How many days do we get? Because I mean, I wasn't allowed to take off more than a day consecutive. I'm just curious.
I don't think that's right, Beth.
Okay.
I think you might be on the wrong year.
When do you think it starts? You tell me.
I think it starts next week.
You're right.
I don't like that. It was I told people was my most difficult contract negotiation ever. Was Tom, I don't want anything except off for Burning Man. Like, all right, I could do that.
You can see that, you said. Is that what you didn't say what's Burning Man first? You said I could see that. Got it. Oh, look at this. Oof.
Looks like it's photoshopped.
You're right, Tom. You're right. You're totally right.
Anyway, so let's do this. So we're going to miss Jacob for a couple weeks. So why the SPY, Bat?
I mean, it's the most widely watched. It is the market. I mean, if somebody were to ask you to quote the market, you would quote them, the S&P 500, whether it's SPY or the futures, you would quote them that market.
Let's take a look.
Plus, it's a CBOE product.
It's not.
I know.
In most of the research we do, we usually use SPY to display different trends, behavior, relationships, and correlation among trades and strategies. And recently, we got emails from viewers asking similar questions. Why do you use SPY as an underlying in most of your research and various segments? That's why in today's segment, we'll explore the reasons behind our frequent use of SPY in the majority of our research. We'll go to the next slide, Beth. So when we do different types of research at Tasty, we want everything to make sense as we match it up to our beta-weighted tools on the platform. And on the Tasty Trade trading platform, everything is beta-weighted to the S&P 500. That normalizes futures options, indexes, inverse ETFs, different stocks, and everything. We somehow are able to normalize almost everything, and it's pretty damn accurate. Not everything's perfect, but it's pretty damn accurate. And so we're able to give people an apples to apples representation of their real risk, of their real Greeks, without doing it on a one-off basis, so that people can actually do true portfolio management just like they would at a hedge fund or just like they would at a prop trading firm. That's kind of the beauty behind this. So the research is obviously going to default to the cleanest, most liquid market driver that's out there that everything can be normalized to. That's the beauty of using SPY. So we looked at SPY Qs, TLT, XLK, XLF, XLE, just to look at a bunch of different stuff to show you some of the differences here. We looked at 18 years worth of data. We recorded the daily volume over time, the one standard deviation of daily changes, the number of options expirations. We compared the liquidity of all ETFs, the price and stability and risk of the ETFs, and the availability of data over time. And this is, again, a lot of this is about availability of data. Let's go to the next slide. So SPY has the highest volumes over the longest period of time, which shows that it is the most actively traded product on the market. Now, when we say SPY, we're also talking about SPX, we're also talking about ES, we're also talking about the MES. I mean, it's all of the combination of all the S&P 500 products, but the SPY is the offset. It's kind of the hedge. It's the trading vehicle everybody uses. So it's super clean. So the average daily volume in the SPY is almost double of the Qs, and it's significantly higher than basically all the other ETFs that we look at: TLT, XLK, XLF, blah blah blah. But almost double the Qs. That's what's important. Now, the ES, the futures, have a huge volume as well, notionally, and it compares equally or it's even greater than the SPY, but it's hard to compare stuff to just futures. So let's go to the next slide. Because not everybody trades futures, not the same thing. So we found that the SPY has the lowest standard deviation of daily percent change relative to the number of underlyings in its composition. So this highlights that it is the most representative of the overall market, while its daily volatility remains low. So the cool thing about the SPY is there's 500 underlyings, as opposed to like only 100 in the QQQ, and you can see the other, TLT only has 41, whatever. But the standard deviation of the daily change is also extremely low. It's lower than everything except for Qs. I'm sorry, except for bonds. TLT is bonds. And that also makes sense. But looking at all the other equity products, it has a lower standard deviation of percent change. So we're not going to glorify or overestimate risk, but it also has the most diversification inside the portfolio. Next slide. So also we mostly use SPY because it has the most expirations, which means that it has the most clean option data. And you know what? Sometimes data gets a little funky. For anybody that's ever backtested anything before, for anybody that's ever looked at, kind of looking at historical data, looking at all these old charts and stuff like that, and trying to figure out, why is there a bad tick here? Why is there a bad quote there? The cleanest data we have and the cleanest database we have is SPY. And the number of option expirations.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's because it's the most widely watched. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. So it's the highest number of expirations, and and it's the cleanest data. Let's take a look at the next slide. So when we do research, we need to satisfy the following requirements for a fair study. We need plentiful and reliable data. We need an underlying that is reflective of a broad selection of underlyings and actual trading activity. And we need an underlying that can't be manipulated, okay? It cannot be... It can't be manipulated any way.
Can't be moved. The closing prices.
Nothing. Right. And an underlying that has a moderately low risk profile to make a conservative best case scenario. All of our research is designed for the best conservative case scenario, because we're not going to do moderate and we're not going to do aggressive, because that doesn't help anybody. So we do conservative case in the SPY, and then you could take it to moderate aggressive in any other underlying that you want. SPY also has ample liquidity, lots of included stocks, a low risk profile, enabling it to be the perfect underlying to base our studies. It's also absolutely the most logical.
Very good, sir. Good job out of you. We're going to take a quick 90-second break and come back. We got Joy, Mr. Scott Sheridan coming in the house, followed by Johnny Trades, Nick Batista. We'll be back in 90 seconds. Stay live.